Well, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I was going to shoot an epic outdoor video today, but it's raining. So instead of doing that, we're going to pull the Tacoma here outside. We're going to take a look at the interior, specifically the gauge cluster and the Entune radio. You know, the radio that everybody complains about. So we're going to pull this thing out. We're going to have a look at it. Okay, we are outside where it's a little bit brighter. I pulled outside because it is brighter. Otherwise, like you saw in the beginning there, it'd be pretty dark. So what I want to do, we're going to take a look at the instrument cluster, you know, the dash area, and the Entune radio system, because a lot of people complain about the interior altogether. They don't like the seats. They don't like the gauge cluster. They hate the Entune radio system. I'm not quite sure why. But we're going to go ahead and put it in accessory mode while we're sitting out here. And to do that, just keep your foot off of everything, you know, the brake pedal. Hit the start button. I think you can do it just once, actually. Let's just see what happens. So, wait a minute. I got to show you that again. Let me turn this thing off. Okay, we've got it all off. Ready? We have to see this again because I did a mod recently, and I just think it's pretty cool. So we hit the button once. And watch the screen there. Watch it. You watching? There you go. Isn't that cool? That, of course, is the startup background that I put in the system. And I think it's pretty cool. So, we're going to start with, I guess, with the gauge cluster here, you know. And I am going to have to start the truck to show you that because there's one thing. Let me start her up. There is one thing that I really like. You can see the Tacoma name and then the Tacoma itself come up there on the screen. But there's one thing that I really like, and this is a must for me in every vehicle these days, and that is a digital readout. You guys can see here. A digital speedometer. I just love that. You know, I had a couple of vehicles in between that didn't have that. They just had the old needle, you know. And I love being able to look down and just see what speed I'm going. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but I think it's pretty darn cool, and I have to have that in every truck. Every truck, every vehicle now has to have that for me. If it doesn't have that, I'm not interested. So, let's take a look. This is the screen that I always drive on, and it shows, of course, again, your speed, and then down below it has distance to empty, I guess, on the readout. Now you can go through different things. Let's check the last mileage. You guys can see I took a short trip today. We had 15.5 miles per gallon average on that trip. Not great, but it was really a short trip, and you know, a lot of stopping and starting and nothing over about, I think, 30 miles an hour. So not too bad for something like that. Scrolling on through, you get a little trip meter thing, and then some kind of rest button. I don't know why. It's going to tell me when I need to rest. I don't really care for that. Going over to the next set of options here, you have a compass. Tells you what direction you're going. And moving on over, let's see. It has the radio where it would show what was on the radio and all that stuff. Of course, I have the radio off because of copyright reasons. So that's why you see the screen as blank there. Going to the next side, you have your tire pressures. As you can see, I am at 38s all the way around, just like I want it. Perfect. And I love having that on the truck as well. There are still, believe it or not, some vehicles out there that do not show you the pressure. They'll give you a warning if your tire's low, one of them, and then you can figure out which one. But they don't give you the tire pressure readout. I love that. Gotta have that. Another must-have right there. And the Tacoma does. Messages, that doesn't work with my iPhone, so it doesn't really matter. And then there are some collision and lane departure options that you can set up. It's the pre-collision system, as you can see there. And then, let's see, we're back to the speedometer, which is right there. Now, you also see the temperature reading up here. I like that. I like to know what the temperature is outside. Over on the left, we have the coolant temperature. Nice to know, seldom used, I guess, unless you were hauling something or towing something, I suppose. You've got the RPM gauge there. Again, something I always like to have, being that it's not a manual transmission, and not sure what its real value is, again, unless you're towing something. And then, of course, over on the right, you have the old-fashioned needle speedometer with kilometers per hour on there, by the way. And you can change the readout here from miles per hour to the metric kilometers per hour if you wanted. And down below, the all-important fuel gauge. And I forgot to mention, you can also see what gear you're in there. Here, we'll shift it to reverse. It shows you the whole layout of the gear system. And then how many miles are on the truck, which right now for me is a whopping 542 miles. Just another 100 miles to go, and I'll take it back in and have the lift retorqued and all that good stuff. So, going over to the Entune system, I have it set on audio right now. You have all of your different features, of course, AM, FM, XM. You can plug a USB in. You can plug an auxiliary feed in if you want. Bluetooth audio, which I love. This has Pandora. Still an old-fashioned CD player in here. Never going to use that again probably, but it's there. We'll arrow on over. You have iHeartRadio and Slacker Radio, two that I never use. You can reorder this stuff if you want, put it in a different order, I guess, the way that you want it. No big deal. And now we'll go to apps. Many different things to choose from on here. You have navigation, the audio, which we just saw, of course, phone, messages if you have that feature. There's an eco option on here where you can see information about your trip. This will show you, again, here's my average miles per hour that goes with that fuel economy that I showed you a little bit ago. You can see we barely made it, if at all, to even 30 miles an hour. Let's go back, hit the back button. You have a setup where you can go through, set up all your different things. Traffic, if you have that service, and you can monitor traffic if you're on a long trip or maybe on your way to work, whatever. Weather, it'll show you what kind of weather is for anywhere you want it to be. Maintenance, which I'll show you in a minute here. Destination search for navigation, save destinations, Pandora, of course, again. iRadio, Slacker, fuel guide, that'll show you different gas stations in your area and what they're charging for their fuel. A little sports report if you want to get a little sports info while you're driving. Stocks if you want to play the market. Yelp, movie tickets. You can buy movie tickets while you're driving around, or at least see what's playing. Open table. Not exactly sure what that means. We're going to find out here in a second. And then Facebook places. Nah, never used that. Let's check this. Open table. Restaurants. You can look around for restaurants and stuff, see if you want to make reservations or whatever. Let's go back. And maintenance. This thing's kind of neat. There is all kinds of stuff here that you can set, if you're so inclined in your system, for reminders as to when you want to do things to the truck. Anything from engine oil down to the air filter, you guys can see here. And then you can put some personal crap in there too if you want. You can set the dealership you want to use. I haven't set this up yet myself, but it does look like a pretty handy thing, I think. I kind of like that that's there. We'll try it out here eventually. Like I said, right now, we'll just hit one. I don't have anything set up in there, but you can see what it looks like. Pretty cool, I think. Let's go to one more just for kicks. Oil filter, same kind of thing. You put the date, the distance, blah, 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 whatever, and then it'll show you how much is remaining until you actually have to have that service done. So a lot of cool stuff on there. I don't know why people don't like the system. I think it's pretty neat myself. I love all the options in it. As far as the sound quality goes, again, I would show you guys, but there are copyright restrictions, so I can't. But I do love the system in here. I think it sounds perfectly fine. I don't know that it ever really has been lacking, or, you know, that I've been driving around cranking something up and wishing I had more. Now, of course, for you audiophiles out there, it could be refined. It could always be better. You could sink, you know, 10 grand in a radio system, I suppose, if you wanted, if that was your thing. I don't spend that much time in here. As you can tell from the mileage, Haven't spent a lot of time in here anyway yet. And I don't take any long trips in this truck, so I don't really need it to be a top-notch audio system any better than it already is, which again I think is pretty darn good. So I just wanted to come out here, show you guys, give you a closer look at the gauge cluster and the Entune radio system. I think it's pretty good. I'm happy with it. I don't have any complaints. Unlike the Tundra that I had, that system was pretty lacking, really. Very simplistic. This one is a bit more advanced. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think of this system. If you don't like the Entune system, why not? What's wrong with it? We'll see you next time on the web. Have a good day. Bye.